that being said, okay. That regular conversation. If you had 3 minutes to break the mold, what would you do? What would you say? If you know me, you know that I have a lot to say. So, the producers of this show, they gave me a time limit. 3 minutes. So in just 3 minutes, I'd love for us to discuss diversity, what it really means, and who's been left out of that definition. Did you know that I run a nonprofit organization, but I also cry, laugh, roll on the floor, sneeze, cry, again, all in the span of 10 minutes. This happens on a daily basis. This is all of me, and I'm trying to bring that to you. With all that being said, now it's time for, you guessed it, facts and stats. In the Creative Differences Handbook written by Megan Rhiannon, it says that creative thinking requires a toolbox of capabilities. And neurodiversity tends to affect the size and what's in the toolbox. Research shows that, for example, individuals with ADHD outperform others when thinking or performing creatively. And traits of autism may put an individual at an advantage when generating ideas. This is because the ideas generated tend to be novel, skipping the obvious and reaching for the blue sky. So, organizations or communities or entities or groups that promote neurodiversity not only raise general understanding, but they also create an environment where creativity can thrive and where people feel comfortable bringing their full selves to that group or that organization or that community. Our guest today is somebody who has a long career of doing just that, creating room and environments where people can bring their full selves and where creativity can thrive. Welcome to 3 Minutes with Ifu. We're here with none other than Frederick McNeil Jr. Over the past 15 years, Frederick has developed and managed entertainment's biggest names. Through service design, culturally responsive programming, and space making, Frederick continues to challenge norms and solve problems through cooperative, care-based practices. So, without further ado, let's welcome Frederick McNeil Jr.
What's up?
Welcome to 3 Minutes with Ifu.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's get to it. Let's talk about Just Be Cool Global. Tell us about that. Tell us about, your career so far.
Yeah, so Just Be Cool, JBC, is a culture brand. My brother and I, he's a visionary in that he decided, I'm gonna start a clothing line and I'm gonna use that for good. Just Be Cool basically is an effort to redefine cool. And through pushing of that message, through art, through culture, through events, through music, through media, community, of artists and followers who believed in that message too.
You talked about cooperative care-based practices. What are those?
For me, a focus on inner work, self-work, getting yourself in a place where you are well, and then you can, help others and be of service. Mm-hmm. So that basically means new ways of existing in community, new ways of building businesses. And so I believe that is our path. That is our pathway to true equity, to liberation, is through us learning how to work together. I think it just comes down to like a humanitarian paradigm shift. So really it's thinking about what are your needs and how can your needs expand and inform needs of others. Because if it's something that you need as a human, then there's a good chance that someone else needs this as well.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody who is looking for their tribe?
I think it's just starting to practice a form of self-love. As we talked about at the beginning, like take care of yourself. The more true you can be to yourself, the more that you can exist in your fullness unapologetically. Naturally, you attract those who are of the same fabric.
Awesome. So my final question for you is, thus far, you've had a very illustrious career of creating room for people, right? What if somebody what if somebody was so passionate about a specific community but didn't know where to get started on how to create
Kind of go back to people who are neurodivergent, who may feel like they don't have a community, right?
Just really being very, intentional with who you are working with. I personally also, was diagnosed ADD or ADHD, which I think is just still on the spectrum of neurodivergence. And I think it's just a matter of realizing that like we all have our thing and acknowledging the humanity in all of us. As we talked about at the beginning, like take care of yourself. The more you can take care of yourself, the more you can turn in. There is clarity, there is vision. If you're able to work through the stuff that might be like holding you back or like crippling you mentally, you get into a real self-love practice, the more that you're able to see others in that light as well.
Thank you for sharing about your career. And it's been a pleasure learning from you and speaking with you. And thank you for being a part of 3 Minutes with Ifu.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to more conversations.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
All right then. Awesome. Aha!